Ready for a deep dive into the fascinating world of honeybee queens.
Always up for exploring the hive.
We'll be looking at some cutting-edge research using robots to actually track queen bees inside the hive.
Really cool stuff.
It really is. So this research uses something called AROBA.
Autonomous robot for observation of bee activities.
That's right. Autonomous robot is our observation of bee
It
activities.
is great.
So instead of, scientists peeking into the hive every now and then, this AROBA system lets them observe the queen 24/7.
Exactly. They basically outfitted a regular beehive with these two robotic arms.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and each one has a camera, and they're able to move super precisely inside without bothering the bees too much. They can track literally everywhere the queen goes.
Like having little bee-sized drones following her around?
Kind of. And the cool thing is, this is the first time anyone's been able to get such a complete picture of what a queen bee actually does all day long.
Okay, I'm hooked. So
Yeah.
spill the honey. What did
Yeah.
they learn? What's the queen bee's daily routine really like?
Well, one of the most surprising things was about where the queen likes to hang out. You'd think she'd always be right in the center of the action, maybe surrounded by her attendants.
Yeah, holding court.
But it turns out she prefers a little peace and quiet. The research found she spends most of her time resting in the same spot, the furthest point from the hive entrance.
Interesting. Any idea why she chooses to be way over there?
Seems like the safest, quietest spot, away from the hustle and bustle of the entrance, any potential intruders. Plus, if the queen's health is super important for the whole colony, it makes sense she'd stay in the most protected area, right?
Makes sense. So it's all about strategy and safety, even for the queen bee.
Exactly. And not just where she rests, but how she moves around is important too.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, obviously laying eggs is a big part of her job, but AROBA was able to track her speed and even tell the difference between when she was walking versus resting.
So they got really granular with the data.
Oh, yeah. Turns out she doesn't just wander randomly. She's very deliberate about how she moves through the hive, balancing, that need to lay eggs efficiently, but also making sure her pheromones are spread out everywhere.
Pheromones, right. Remind us again what those are and why they matter so much.
Think of them like invisible chemical messages that the queen sends out to the rest of the hive. They control all kinds of things, from how the worker bees behave to how they build the hive.
So she's basically running the whole show through these pheromones.
Exactly. And the way she moves around helps to spread those pheromones effectively. What's interesting is they found her resting patterns changed a bit depending on whether she was in the brood nest area or the honey storage area.
You mean like she rested for different lengths of time depending on where she was?
Yeah. So it's even more strategic than we thought, how she manages her time and those pheromone signals. Really incredible, the level of detail they were able to capture.
It's like getting a peek behind the curtain of a whole other world.
It really is. And it gets even cooler when we look at the queen's entourage, her court.
Oh, tell me about this court. Are we talking like royal advisors and ladies in waiting?
Not quite. Think of it as her team of dedicated worker bees, taking care of her every need.
Yeah.
Feeding her, grooming her, making sure she's doing A-okay.
So basically a bunch of bee assistants catering to her every whim.
Pretty much. And AROBA was able to analyze these interactions, What they noticed was that the closer you got to the queen, the more crowded it was with worker bees, especially when she was resting.
I guess everyone wants to be close to the queen. But is there any other reason for them to be huddled up like that?
Remember how we talked about pheromones? Well, being part of that inner circle gives those worker bees direct access to the queen's pheromones. They pick them up and then spread them around the hive as they do their thing.
Ah, so the closer you are to the queen, the more in you are with all the latest hive gossip.
Exactly. It shows just how vital the queen is for keeping things running smoothly in the hive. Even when she's kicking back and relaxing, she's still influencing every single bee through those chemical messages.
Amazing. But let's step back for a second. Why is all this research so important? What's the big picture impact here?
It comes down to this: a healthy queen bee equals a healthy hive. And healthy hives, they're crucial for our entire ecosystem. We can't forget honeybees are these incredible pollinators. They're the key to helping tons of plants reproduce, like the fruits and veggies we love.
Right, they're the unsung heroes of our food system.
Exactly. And lately, there's been growing concern about bee populations declining, which is a big problem. This research feels even more urgent now, If we can really understand how queen bees behave and how these complex hive dynamics work, it could be the key to protecting these essential pollinators.
So by studying the queen's everyday life, we're actually learning about the health of the whole colony, and in a way, the health of our planet too.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that AROBA, because it can monitor the Hive 247, it's giving us a chance to study all of this in real time, which is huge.
You mentioned earlier that this research has implications even beyond understanding bee behavior, right? What else can we learn from something like this?
Oh, absolutely. This isn't just about bees. This kind of robot observation could totally change how we study all kinds of social insects, ants, termites, you name it. Imagine all the secrets we could unlock about these incredible societies they build, how they communicate, their role in the ecosystem.
It's like opening a door to a whole new world of scientific discovery.
Right. And think about the possibilities in agriculture. What if we had similar robotic systems to monitor crops, see how pollination is going, or even spot potential threats before they become a problem?
Like robot farm hands working alongside us. That sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, right? But it might be closer than we think. This tech could completely change the way we produce food, making it more sustainable and way more efficient.
The possibilities are really mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Now, I do have to ask, are there any downsides to this technology? Like working inside a beehive with robots, there've got to be some challenges.
Oh, definitely. One thing is the system can't keep track of every single bee at the same time. They have to prioritize what's most likely to change and focus on that.
So there's still a ton of data crunching and analysis involved, even with this advanced tech.
For sure. And another challenge, well, it's pretty basic, actually, keeping those camera lenses clean. They're looking through the hive's glass cover, and things can get a little messy, condensation builds up, wax from the hive.
Sounds like even high-tech robots need a window washing every now and then.
Tell me about it. And they have to be super careful cleaning the glass so they don't disturb the colony too much. It's a balancing act for sure.
It sounds like there are definitely some kinks to work out. But the potential this tech has, it's huge. So where do you think this research goes from here? What does the future hold for AROBA and similar systems?
Yeah, it's exciting to think about where it could go from here.
Definitely. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's bring it back to what we've learned today. What would you say is like the biggest takeaway from all of this research?
Biggest takeaway? That's a good question. I think for me what's really striking is how even in a system that seems chaotic, like you look at a beehive, it's buzzing, everyone's moving, there's actually this hidden order, like this incredible web of interactions controlling how the whole community behaves.
It really makes you appreciate how complex nature really is.
Absolutely. And how interconnected everything is. What happens to that queen bee ultimately affects every single bee in the hive, and that has a ripple effect on the environment.
It's a good reminder that even these tiny creatures can have a huge impact on the world around us.
Exactly. And by studying these seemingly small details, like how often the queen rests or how she interacts with her court, we can actually gain a much deeper understanding of these large-scale ecological processes, like the importance of biodiversity and just how interconnected life on Earth really is.
I like that. Well said. This deep dive has definitely given me a whole new appreciation for bees.
Me too. And I hope it's inspired our listeners to, next time they see those busy bees in their garden, they look at them with a little more curiosity, a little more respect. Those bees aren't just insects. They're architects. They're master communicators. They are absolutely crucial for a healthy planet.
They really are. Well, this has been an incredible journey into the world of honeybee queens. So much more going on in there than we realize.
There really is.
Thank you so much for walking us through this fascinating research.
My pleasure. Always happy to talk about bees.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep into the wonders of the world around us. You never know what you'll discover.